Hello, I'm Willie Stevens.
And I'm Brandy Stevens.
And welcome to the Journey of Us.
Welcome to the Journey of Us podcast. And today we will discuss staying versus leaving and how do you know? So let's jump into this. So what's the difference between a rough season and knowing when a relationship has run its course?
You should tell me.
I think that, I guess personally, because I've had other relationships that have run their course, particularly my first marriage. And when it came to that, I knew it had run its course when we just were no longer in alignment. He wanted to do one thing and I wanted to do another, and we couldn't come to a place where we could agree or come up with a type of compromise that would be mutually beneficial. We just got to the point to where, that was it. And he had had enough and I had enough, and it was contentious, but it doesn't always have to be that way. But that's how I know that it was time to end it and to move on. And as far as a rough season goes, we've had plenty of those. I just think, honestly, I think it was more so my willingness in this relationship to work through the rough season. And in those seasons, I did have questions where, are we going to make it? But I think it had more so to do with my willingness and my resilience prior to.
Well, generally, when you get into a relationship that has actually run its course, that you generally know that because when you're looking at two separate people that do not want to put in the effort anymore, you feel as if this person is not worth that.
The relationship isn't worth it.
Yeah. She or he is not worth it. What it's going to cost me anymore. I've always said, I don't throw good money after bad money.
Yeah.
So ideally, that's what they're saying, that this relationship is not worth what it costs me anymore. It's
not worth the investment.
Yes.
To keep my talent, my resources, everything that's in me. It's no longer worth me continuing to put that towards this relationship. And so I would just rather walk away.
Yeah. Because especially when you see that you always are going to be looking looking from the inside, looking out. And so you're going to see things you're thinking that is better out there. And I can get somebody that does this. And this is exactly what I want at this stage of my life.
Yeah.
But when you get to that point, whether it's with this person or with whoever else, when you feel as if you cannot compromise anymore, or this person is not worth what it's going to cost you to stay with them, then I think that's when people start to leave or determine that they want to leave.
I'm sorry. Okay, so what it sounds like is there are rough seasons, but based on where you are and your willingness, a rough season can turn into a relationship at the end of its course.
Yes.
Yeah, or it could just be a rough season.
Yeah.
You determine what that's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Because you go all in. Generally, in a rough season, you're going all in. And you come back to, I guess, center after a while. You'll say, okay, well, I don't want this, but is this worth is it worth the difficult time that our relationship is going to have to go through? And you get to the point where you feel as if that this person is worth me going back and apologizing.
Yeah.
When I don't think I was wrong.
Yeah.
Then okay, well, we can work through this tough season or we'll work through this rough patch here. Mm-hmm. But when you get to the point where you're saying, the hell with them. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not going to say I did anything wrong. She always does this. And I'm just tired. I'm tired. Because when a man gets to the point where when he say, I'm just tired, and a lot of times he's ready to go. And so if he's ready to go already, the question becomes is she worth that to him to stay and to compromise and to go back on things that you said that you would never do? And so I think that's what makes a determination when you're having your rough patch, whether it's going to go to the point where we have to split this because
Yeah.
nobody's willing to compromise anymore.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, Mr. Man compromising.
You think so?
No, I'm just messing with
I
you.
was
See
about
what
to
you're gonna
say, wait a minute. So, speaking of rough patches,
Mhm.
in our relationship, we've had a few. I would say I think the biggest rough patch thus far, because I'm sure there will be others to come. And so we have to use these same tools and resources and all of that to kind of get through those. But I think the biggest one to date has had to do with parenting.
Yeah.
And as I'm sure many of you know, this is my second marriage, and my son was birthed from the first marriage. So our son is your stepson. And just navigating the difficulty, not just of being a teenage young man, but being a teenage young person. And then we have his biological father and all of the things that kind of go along with that with co-parenting.
Yeah.
And we entered, I feel like, was it like his sophomore year? I think that we entered a really, really rough patch when it related to like how we would raise him and how he was showing up as a young individual in the situation. And my thoughts, your thoughts, and then his father's thoughts about what should be done and what should go on. And it lasted, I think, for a couple of years where we just have to really figure that thing out. And I think that because I know for me as his mother, I had a lot of guilt associated with things, and I often felt like I was in the middle a lot of times. And it was a really, really tough place to be because at the end of the day, I'm his mother, but I'm your wife. Mm-hmm. And kind of navigating through that was so difficult for me because I wanted to have his best interest at heart and his feelings, but also your feelings and then my feelings and how I felt about everything that was going on. So that was a really tough space to be in. And I'm sure you were very frustrated by some of the decisions that I made. I made a lot of mistakes, like when it came to making decisions and leaving you out, just doing what I felt was in his best interest and not taking into consideration that you were just as much of a parental figure as I was, because you've been there with me since he was 4 years old, rearing him, the only true consistent father figure that he had. And so it was hard. I said a lot.
Yeah. And I will say, yeah, it was very difficult at that time. I think that was probably the most difficult thing that we've had to go through in a relationship. In our relationship, of course, I feel as if, there were times I didn't know whether or not this was going to last.
I agree. Yeah.
Because, me having to, I guess, fight up against what his father thought, and then what he thought,
Mm-hmm.
and then what you thought.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I didn't agree with any of it.
Yeah.
And so I feel as if, that was very difficult for me to deal with. There's many times I felt as if, that do I want to stay? Not whether or not I can say, do I want to stay here? Because she is raising him in a way that I feel as if I wasn't raised this way.
Yeah.
And I don't know that this is going to work.
Yeah.
She's letting him get away with certain things that he should not be getting away with. He shouldn't be calling her after I tell him no.
Yeah.
He shouldn't call her 5 times at work while she's working. And so she just say yes to it versus say, okay, just go ask your papa. Let him, he'll tell you. And so it was very difficult. And I just did not know whether or not it was going to last during that time because, it was many days that I didn't want to come home.
Really?
Yeah. I did not want to come home because I knew that my whole, I guess, ideals behind being married is that I want to come home to peace.
And it was not peaceful.
There was no peace at all.
It was not peaceful at all.
Not even wanting to be in the same room sometimes. So that was the most difficult part of this all. But I look at it from the standpoint of what did my father have to deal with? With me.
Yeah.
I was pretty much the exact same. And as I was going through these things, I was thinking that he stayed in the midst of all of that, in the midst of me saying, I wish I didn't have a daddy.
Yeah.
Because when I was upset, I'll go to my mom.
Yeah.
Same thing he's doing.
Yeah.
Because there is a relationship that, and a lot of times the guys have with their mother that they don't have with the father, because the father is the disciplinarian.
Yeah.
The mother is the compassionate one.
Yeah.
And so I do understand that I was going to be getting it back.
Yeah.
Because what they say, you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
And so when we got married and I knew it was a boy, I was like, oh, I'm going to have to deal with the same stuff that I had to deal, that I actually put my father through.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that allowed me to stay, because I knew that I am just getting back or going through things that I put somebody else through. But it was difficult. It was very difficult.
At that point, at any point, did you talk to your dad and seek advice for or just talk about it to him?
No.
No.
I think it was more so of me recognizing
okay.
that, and me being able to tell him thank you from time to time.
Yeah.
I understand now.
Yeah.
And so that's, my family is a little bit different. We don't really talk like that, but I'm able to tell him, I see now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that you stayed, because, I know my mom wasn't the easiest person to deal with sometimes too.
Yeah.
Kind of like, when you're dealing with a person that's in the middle of this.
It's hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was so hard being in the middle.
Because I remember her saying some of the same things that you're saying. I'll talk to your daddy for you, things like that, And so I do understand that, those are the relationships and the things you got to navigate through. And so that's one of the things that helped me stay, because I understood that this is just a part of the process.
Yeah.
In an accident, want somebody to fight for you? Who will fight for you? Will, big truck insurance. Will, 18-wheeler accidents. Will, get what you deserve. Will, who will fight for you? Will, car accidents. Will, serious injury. Will, get what you deserve. Will, www.callwillywill.com.
Did you ever, during that phase, did you feel disrespected by me with some of the decisions that I made regarding our son?
Of course I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were making decisions that I feel that you knew that I was going to disagree with. And you didn't consult with me because you did not want me to give you the answer that you knew I was going to give you.
And so that goes back to me and my, at the time, and I'm still working through it, my need to avoid conflict. And so I feel like at that point, I just would prefer to make the decision and not come to you, because I knew you were going to give me pushback.
Yeah.
And so inevitably, it was conflict anyway, because even after I made the decision, you and I had to hash it out. But in that moment, I felt that it was easier just to go ahead and make whatever decision I felt,
and make him happy.
Yep, make him
deal
happy.
With me.
Because I was avoiding conflict with him and I was avoiding conflict with you.
Yeah.
And all the while causing chaos.
Yeah.
But that was something I had to kind of learn, and I'm still learning to, be better at that and find my voice, and like we talked about in the other episode, just express what I need and express what's going on and have those uncomfortable conversations. I avoided them like the plague. But now, after going through that, I realize and I understand that it's just a healthier option just to be honest and say what needs to be said. And whatever comes with it is what comes with it, because life is full of uncomfortable conversations and you just have to have them. I had to, as one of my former coworkers who trained me, she would say all the time, you got to just put your big girl panties on and do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So that's something that I had to kind of grow to in that season. And I think as far as practical things to kind of help us navigate through that was I started therapy at that point. That's when I really started, but I stopped doing it. My default was to just give our son exactly what he wanted. But I had to build the habit of no. Let me talk to your papa. I would have to tell him no a lot and then make sure that I followed up with you. And I think that was the turning point to kind of help us navigate through that, because I had to stop that I guess, bad behavior of just avoiding things and making that decision, because I knew that there was something that wasn't good for us in our relationship, because we're one unit, and I was separating us by making those decisions and doing that without consulting you and not bringing you in. So it took some time, but over time it got easier and easier, but it was very difficult for me to tell him no in those moments, or to say, just wait and let me talk to your papa.
Yeah.
So,
and I will say that, I think that the difficult part for me is it was not just what came from him, but having to deal with what came from him, what came from you, and what came from his biological father.
Yeah.
And I felt as if, honestly, I regretted at that time pushing to, I guess, for them to have a closer relationship.
Oh, really?
Because I know that initially when we first got together, they didn't really have a relationship, and I kept pushing for that. I was the one that said that I don't want him to call me daddy. I want him to call me papa. But I want the word daddy to be reserved for his biological father,
right,
because I want them to have a relationship.
Yeah.
I used to push them seeing one another.
Yeah.
I used to drive just to drop him off or meet halfway.
Yeah.
For them to spend time together.
Yeah.
And I started to regret doing those things because of the difficulties I was dealing with, because I felt that when he went to his father, he saw his father as a friend. And now when he comes back home, he's expecting a friend in me, but I am not your friend.
Yeah.
And so now I have to fight that and show that, okay, well, no, this is what the father's supposed to do, or this is what the man in the house is supposed to do. The man in the house is supposed to be more aggressive. He's supposed to be the one that's saying, okay, we're going to do this way. He's supposed to be able to lead. And me having to teach him those things, those are the difficult parts of being a young man. Mm-hmm. And so it's almost as if I am wrong because everybody on the other side is showing him more of a loving disposition type thing, where, mom is saying, I love you, rubbing your back and telling you, you're everything and you can do it all. And dad is on the other side saying, okay, well, you can't let him talk to you like that. Or I don't know what he was saying, but,
right,
it was more so of, you my boy, we're friends, you come over here, we have fun and all that type of stuff. You come to spend the weekend, we're going to go do these things and all that. And when he came home to me, I had to work.
Yeah.
And, I couldn't be that guy because, first of all, it's not that guy isn't real. That's a weekend person. And so I have to get him the rest of the week and show him that, okay, this is what men do in order to take care of their family. And so what I do was not the fun thing.
Unpopular.
And it was an unpopular thing also.
Yeah.
And so that's the difficulties I had with that whole that whole part of our relationship.
But eventually,
yeah, we made it.
On the other side.
Yeah.
And I will say, our son does call you from time to time and thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it did not feel good in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. Not at all. But that's some of the striving and growth that comes with them becoming young adults and us becoming, better versions of ourselves. And at the end of the day, people say it all the time, you don't get a manual on how to do it. And even if they did, you would throw it away because everybody, and everybody's different.
Yeah.
And so this manual may not work for my child in my house. Because we talked about that before too, like what will work for your marriage because you're two different people and looking at, other people's marriages and stuff like that. The same thing with family. Mm-hmm. This was our first time being parents. And so I think I've learned as I've gotten older. At the time I had a lot of guilt and shame related to some of the decisions that I make. But now I look back at myself more compassionately because it was my first time and I did what I knew to do. But that's just a part of growth.
Hey y'all, it's Miss Brandy here and we're so excited to announce our expansion, servicing Zachary, Baker, Southern, and all of our surrounding communities. We're continuing to bring healthy hair care, consistency, and that luxury hair salon experience that you've come to know and love, now even closer to you. Follow along with us as we bring it all together. We can't wait to partner with you on your healthy hair care journey. See you soon.
In any relationship, maybe not this one, have you stayed longer than you should have?
No.
I knew you was gonna say that.
I don't waste time. I don't let people waste my time.
I
You
know it.
I told you a while back about this young lady that I was asking all those questions where, I was asking whether, do you do this? Do you smoke? Do you drink? All that type of stuff. And then I say, okay, well, I want somebody that don't do those things. And she had just told me she did those things. And so I'm not one that wastes my time. I would much rather have the difficult conversation right now, get this over with, and let's move on.
Yeah.
So no, that's never been a problem for me.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to see. I have stayed in relationships longer than I should have. And I think it's partly because part of me, I want to be right, and I'm a little stubborn.
Yeah.
And so, as you know, I don't like to be told what to do. And so if everybody, and I've experienced this before, everybody in my life was telling me, girl, don't do it. And I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong. Mm-hmm. That stubbornness in me, I don't even know where that come from. But the stubbornness in me will cause me to fight longer than I'm supposed to, and to hang in there just to kind of prove everybody wrong. And I know for me in previous relationships, it was like God started with the whisper, and then he got a little bit louder and turned up the volume. But for me, he's had to just like bust me over the head and say, it's time to move on, or you need to move in a different direction. Almost like close every door and say, Brandy, this is the way that you need to go. Unfortunately, that's that stubborn bone in me, and I have stayed longer than I should have. But I'm learning as I grow to kind of listen to the whisper, so it doesn't get to that point to where I have to be knocked over the head to do what and tell the truth to myself and operate in that, versus believing the lies and the stories that I've told myself that have kept me in relationships for too long. So, next, what are some signs that you think that a relationship is worth fighting for?
Let me let you answer that one first.
I would say signs that a relationship is worth fighting for. Just speaking on our current relationship, I would definitely say the investment that's been put in, and then also a person's willingness. Being rigid and just stuck in your ways it would be a sign for me that it may just be time to move on. But if I see that a person is open and wanting to at least put in some work, then I think that that's worth fighting for, because it's all about your willingness to move forward. Your willingness, because you can, but will you? You can, but should you? So I think it's more so about if I see willingness and openness, then yeah, I think it's worth fighting for.
Yeah. Well, with me, I don't necessarily have a telltale sign that the relationship is worth fighting for. I think it's more so with me. Is the person, like I always say, is the person worth that to me?
Well, so what does that mean to you? What is the criteria for that person to be worth it?
It's more so about the value. Do I value this person enough for this? What is it going to cost me to be in this relationship with this particular person? Is it going to cost me who I am inside? Am I going to have to switch things completely? Is she worth that to me?
Okay.
And so I think my criteria more so is, does this person bring something to me that I feel as if I need? I'm all about needing. I want to be needed, and I want to feel as if this person actually adds something that I just can't get from the streets.
Okay. Okay. Something of value, like you said, that you just can't get it anywhere.
Yeah, because, I will say, when you're dealing with certain people, they feel as if their sexuality is the things that adds value. But in most cases, to men, it's not. Yeah, we want that. We want a sensual, sexual woman and all that. However, but I can get, that's a dime a dozen. I can, because I'm sure if you want to pay for it, you can get something much more freaky than what you get. So it's not even about the sex, which women think it is.
We do, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let's end it. Because I think it's more so, is that person worth what it's going to cost me to change or to be with her? And that's ultimately what I have to make a determination on.
Yeah. Okay. At what point does working through it become self-betrayal? So I think as it relates to that, when you have to compromise your core values, or like I said before, you're not being honest with yourself about what your needs, then at that point, I think it's self-betrayal. Because at that point, you're compromising who you are, you're compromising your values, and you're compromising your needs. And I just don't think that that's what should happen. I think compromise is one thing, but when you have to compromise your values and who you are at your core and those core principles, then I think that's when it becomes self-betrayal. What do you think?
I think it's more so when you can't see yourself anymore. I have been in this relationship and I'm doing things that I know that they're not me. And I know that I am not happy. But I am here anyway because something about this particular person that I want to keep. And so I'm willing to give up everything. I'm willing to give up my family. I'm willing to give up the way I speak. I'm willing to give up the money. I'm willing to give up my time. I'm willing to give up everything for this particular person. But I know this isn't the right person for me. I think that's when it becomes betrayal. When you're willing to give up everything for someone you know is not the right person for you.
How do you know if love is enough for you to stay? Is love enough?
For a person to stay?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You don't think love is enough?
No, because I've actually felt as if I was in love with people that I left, because I felt as if, first of all, I got to the point where I didn't like the person anymore. And then it gets to the point where this relationship is not worth what it costs me. And I know I'm all about cost.
Yeah, you are.
But that's ultimately what it is. This is about.
Yeah.
Because I can love you. I can love to see you coming. I can, but I know if I know if you're not good for me, I can leave you, even though I still love you. Because I may see you on the streets and still wonder what would have happened if we had stayed together. Because they're beautiful, but I know that this was not the right person for me.
Yeah. You're very honest with yourself.
I am.
Yeah, you're honest, period.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, we're going to skip the next one because you kind of covered that one. Are there, would you say, some non-negotiables that automatically mean it's time to leave?
Yes, but I think it's more so about the individual, about the people that are involved. Some people say, like me, I say cheating, that's it. And what I call cheating, it may be a little different, like, I know we had this conversation before as far as, I don't think that it's possible for two single people to cheat on one another.
Because they're not married.
They're not married, And so I say this to say, it's really based on the individual. Some people have a line in the sand When you cross this, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's, that's how I am also on that.
Yeah, I think there's a conversation that you have to have when, even if you can't have it before, but have it in the relationship as you grow and evolve as a person. It's a constant conversation, I think, that should be had. I used to like this, but this is what I like now. Or as it relates to cheating, that's a no for me. And then define what cheating is, because there's different, types. Some people feel like, if there's not, any physical act, then you didn't cheat. Or whether it's a kiss versus, sexual intimacy or an emotional, relationship that you may have. And some people feel like that's crossing the line. So I guess understanding what that is and defining that. But I think, there are some non-negotiables. Like, I feel like you got to set a boundary as it relates to, what you need in a relationship. And that person should respect that if they love you. Or
if that person is the person for you.
Because they can love you and not be the person for you.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So, okay. And we've kind of talked about this a little bit too. How does fear and comfort influence the decision to stay?
Well, I think that is one of the major reasons why people stay, because it's the idea of, I don't want to start over. Or at least I know the devil here.
Yeah.
I can deal with this one,
Right. I know what to expect.
Yeah. And so I know that he talks to me in a kind of way, but at least he don't hit me.
Yeah.
My last man hit me, you know what I'm saying? So I think, it's really based on those individuals, certain things like that, so I what do you think?
Yeah, of course. I think fear and comfort play a huge role in whether or not you're going to stay. Fear of the unknown, fear of being alone. Like you said, fear of starting over, and then being comfortable where you are. Knowing and understanding that this is what I know to be true. And I don't necessarily have to deal with what I don't know. And I think fear and comfort, not only in relationships, hold people back, but in life, in business, in going after your dreams. Fear and comfort can really get in the way. But I've learned that you have to kind of look at and see the other opportunities, because the opportunity that's out there that you're fearful of may just be the thing that you need.
Yes.
At the end of the day. And so letting the discomfort, not letting the discomfort outweigh, how am I trying to say it? Don't let the discomfort out. You need to let the comfort outweigh the fear, is what I'm trying to get to.
I have to edit the hell out of it.
I know. At the end of the day, not allowing your fear to hold you back.
Okay.
From what the potential and the opportunities are that are available to you.
Yeah.
Not just in business, not just in, chasing after your dream, but even in a relationship. And I think having the uncomfortable conversation with that person about what your needs are and how that has changed, or, yeah.
And I think you find it a lot when you're talking about a relationship where I guess the man is more of the breadwinner, as they say, you know, and the woman may not make as much money, or she may not work. And she feels as if she has to take some of this stuff that I would think that she wouldn't want to take, just because the fear of me having to do this alone. Mm-hmm. We've been doing this for 15 years together. I know he's a terrible person, but what are my alternatives?
Yeah. And what does choosing to stay actually require from both people?
Commitment.
That's true.
Saying that we are here together, just like a family, you know.
Yeah.
When I say just like a family, I'm talking about like brothers and sisters and mother. You know, you're my brother, you're my sister, regardless of what happens. That's how I had to look at our marriage. I had to say, okay, well, this is my wife, and she's going to be my wife. It's not a situation where we're going to go get a divorce just because this is difficult. Just like my brother is always going to be my brother.
Yeah.
My wife is always going to be my wife unless something crazy happens. And I'm committed to making sure that we're going to be together and we're going to work through whatever it is, because I just refuse to be that person that gives up. I understand, you know, sometimes you have to, you grow in different directions and all that. But shy of something like that, I feel as if I don't want to be the one to give up and leave, and then leave you in a position where now you're asking for assistance from other people.
Yeah.
I refuse to do that. That's the reason why I got life insurance. You know, nobody's going to need, you're not going to need anything. And so that's how I feel. And that's how I've always been, I guess, reared that that's what men do. And so I feel as if it's my obligation to compromise and to try to make things work if I can.
Even when it's hard.
Even when it's hard.
Because it's been hard.
It has been.
And you done got mad at me.
Mm-hmm.
And I done got mad at you.
Yeah.
But you were committed.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty much what it's all about. A decision to be committed.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I'm going to stay with you, okay?
Okay.
Yes. Stay with you. Thank you for watching this episode where we discuss, should I stay or should I go? Be sure to like and subscribe.
And also be sure to tune in to our next episode where we discuss jealousy and insecurity.
So we'll see you next time on The Journey of Us.